Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Thursday evening to you all. I hope you guys are doing awesome out there tonight and had yourselves a wonderful day. And I hope everyone's been having a great week out there so far. We got a lot to cover in tonight's video. We have this winter storm that's really ongoing right now across areas of the southern plains. Will continue to spread east and northeastward overnight into tomorrow morning and last all the way till about halfway through our weekend, I would say. So we're going to give you all the latest and greatest information. We'll talk about the latest watches, warnings, and advisories. Who's like upgraded from winter storm watches to advisories, or maybe winter storm warnings, who's been added, who hasn't. We'll speak on all that right at the beginning of the video. We'll take a look at the radar and what's going on right now. And then we're going to go over a ton of model guidance. And I'm going to be, moving the screen around a lot, not moving the screen, but I'll be kind of switching on and off with different tabs, stuff like that. So we'll jump from one model to another. And I just want to compare this model guidance, get you guys a good idea of how complex this is, how difficult this is to figure out for especially certain areas. Not everybody. For some folks, it's just straight snow. It's easy, like Kentucky and states surrounding Kentucky. We know, for the most part up there, it's going to be straight snow. But areas further south along the I-20 corridor, even the I-85 corridor down in the southeast, it's a lot more difficult to figure out. So we're going to speak on that, and then we're going to spend a ton of time on what the National Weather Service is forecasting as far as snow and ice, and then we'll take a look at some model guidance as far as what different models are showing compared to what the actual experts, human beings in the National Weather Service are saying. So we're going to spend some time in this video for sure. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put those in the comments below. I did not have a chance to answer any of the questions or comments from the last two videos. Just was a very, very busy day at work today because I'm taking off tomorrow to go check out some snow and cover the snow in my home state here in South Carolina. So just didn't have time to check all those comments, so I do apologize. But with all that being said, let's get rocking and rolling. So let's talk about what's going on as far as these winter alerts. So nothing's really changed out here. I would say the one thing that has changed is we've had upgrades from winter weather advisories to winter storm warnings all the way up to Oklahoma City to Tulsa. I'm pretty sure that was not the case this morning. So that just tells us that, in many cases, in this case is no different, that the snow has gotten further north than what was previously thought as far as how north it was going to get, right? So, for example, Springfield, I know, had winter weather advisories this morning. Now you have winter storm warnings. I don't think we're going to get this extended up to St. Louis or anything like that, but who knows? That could change. Winter storm warnings for every county in Arkansas except, say, the southeastern two counties of Arkansas. Winter storm warnings up still for Shreveport, but this is moving in right now. I mean, snowing good chunk of Arkansas right this second. Now, as we start to move into this area, we have winter storm warnings up for pretty much everybody in northern sections of Mississippi, Memphis and western Tennessee, Nashville, Birmingham. You have winter storm warning, Tuscaloosa, just winter weather advisories here in this purple shaded color. Every county in Tennessee has a winter storm warning. Just about every county in Kentucky does also, except the far eastern and northeastern sections of the state where you just have winter weather advisories and still under winter storm watches. So you could still upgrade to a winter storm warning. And then same thing for kind of like Cincinnati, just winter weather advisories with those winter storm watches. And then once you get up to like St. Louis, up to like Bloomington, Indianapolis, to Columbus, winter weather advisories, and then those are up also for most of the state of West Virginia. And then as we start to get into Georgia, the Carolinas, winter storm warnings are still up for Atlanta, up the 85 corridor, Greenville, Spartanburg, Asheville, Charlotte, and I mean, heck, they're even all the way down bordering like the Columbia, Lexington area here in central South Carolina. This is where I live. I live here in Lexington, South Carolina. I'm very excited about this, especially when I made the video, this morning. We weren't having the best trends from overnight. Ever since I made the video this morning, we've had nothing but good trends as far as if you're a winter weather fan like I am, and I think most of you guys know I'm a winter weather fan, but it goes without saying. But winter storm warnings up for, west and north of Columbia, Charlotte, Raleigh, Fayetteville. You guys just have those winter weather advisories, but you could upgrade one way or the other. And we have winter storm warnings up now all the way almost up to Richmond. Does not quite include Virginia Beach, Norfolk. You guys still have just winter storm watches. So this is kind of the last furthest east area that's just hanging on the watches. They have not upgraded you one way or the other. And same thing for Richmond. Technically, the city of Richmond looks like you were under just a winter storm watch. Roanoke, Blacksburg, winter weather advisories, and just to zoom out here. So, I mean, this is like 1,500 miles as far as how wide the watches, warnings, and advisories are. So this is a very, very large winter storm. I would argue it's huge, it's bigger than the one that happened several days ago, a little bit further north. So as far as what's happening right now with this system, radar might be a little blurred out, so we're not going to stay on this very long. Let's make sure we can get this on motion. Let's see if it'll stop glitching for us. And it did. So good. So let me know what you're seeing out there. And I'm not going to be able to read these comments for probably another day or so. But let me know. I saw some video out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It was snowing like crazy. It's definitely snowing up in Oklahoma. Little Rock, it's snowing. This green, it's probably snow, but not sure if that's hitting the ground yet in Memphis. But this is just starting to move into Tennessee, to Mississippi. It's just starting to get into Missouri. It's snowing up in Kansas. So, I mean, this is the entire Southeast. Storm has not even moved into this area yet. So, let's start to move past this. So, let's compare some model guidance. And we do have the latest Euro run. So, we're obviously not going to show you the South Central frame anymore. This storm is ongoing, but we are going to include every state you see here on this map. And hopefully you know where you are on the map, and I'm not trying to be rude, butthole or anything like that, guys, but there is a people that actually do not know where they are on a map, and I don't know why, but they just don't. But if I don't mention your state, that does not mean you're not on the map. For example, if I just say Illinois, then skip Illinois and say Ohio, well, Indiana's right there. You can see it, but it's tough. I got so much coming to my head at one time that I'm going to forget to say stuff. And I know most of you folks understand. But we're going to start this off for around 1 o'clock in the morning tonight. Okay, so snow is starting to enter into western Tennessee, northern Mississippi. You pretty much just got an all-out winter storm ongoing in Missouri, like it's already started right now. I'm sorry, yeah, Missouri and Arkansas is what I meant to say. Snow's starting to move. The darker shades of blue, that's moderate to snow. This kind of dark shade right here of blue, that's getting into the heavier snow. The orange you see on your screen, I mean, that's sleet, freezing rain, and this is just one model run. Okay, and we keep this going. Okay, we get to about Friday morning. So this is about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, depending on if you're in Central and Eastern time. Snow's starting to move into Nashville, so there's a good chance the snow won't move into like Nashville until, give or take an hour, right around when you're waking up tomorrow morning. Snow's starting to move into western Kentucky. Snow's starting to take over a good chunk of Illinois, just not very heavy. And then check this out. And it looks like I got a cat in here, but we'll keep on rolling. Check this out. We got snow starting to move into Atlanta. Okay, a little bit of a wintry mix here. This is freezing rain, but listen, don't look at these colors and think in your head that's immediately what's going on. For example, what you see right here in the kind of the orange color, that could very well be snow. It could very well be sleet or freezing rain. So just remember that. So as we continue to move forward here, we start to get into mid-morning. So this is about mid-morning Friday here. And as you can see, heavier snow starting to move into Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky, Southern Illinois. I mean, it's still snowing like crazy mid-morning tomorrow back in Little Rock, and it's snowing right now. So this is a long duration event for like Arkansas. It's snowing like crazy up here in the Boot Hill, Missouri. But look at this. And listen, this model data is new to me. So I haven't even looked at the 18Z Euro, but it already looks colder to me. So this is showing, the latest Euro is showing heavy snow moving into Atlanta. Okay. And then we flip it one more frame. I don't buy this right here being freezing rain right at the beginning. This little, I call this, you can call it like a finger band or like what I call what it's actually called is a frontogenesis band. But this little extension right here is probably going to be snow or sleet right at the beginning. Maybe rain when you get closer to the coast, but I don't buy it being like pink, which is freezing rain. I don't buy that one bit at all. I think that'll be snow or sleet moving into like the Midlands of South Carolina. It is snowing like crazy, for example, in northern sections of Georgia at this point. And I'm telling you, a lot of these areas, like in North Georgia, northern Alabama, which I haven't mentioned, I apologize. Florence, Huntsville, Alabama, tomorrow morning, it's snowing like crazy. A lot of you folks in northern Alabama, northern Georgia, not so much Tennessee. I think most of the state of Tennessee, except maybe like the southeastern portion of the state, is going to see snow. The majority of it's going to be snow. But right at the beginning, I say northern Alabama, North Florida. Oh, I need to slow down. Northern Alabama. I'm trying to get you guys snow in Florida. You see what I'm trying to do here? North Georgia, the upstate of South Carolina. That, right at the beginning of this storm, is right when you have the chance to see your most snow. You could get a solid front end thumping of snow sometime late morning, I don't know, early afternoon. You move it one more frame. I can already tell you that the Euro run is coming in a heck of a lot colder, which is throwing red flags to me as far as more winter weather. This is the coldest run, and this is new to me. I'm breaking this down as I go, and this has been the trend over the last several evening videos, right? For you folks who have been tuning in. The 18Z, it's always new to me because it's not uploaded when I start the video, and then it is when I'm going through the video. But this is just a solid snowstorm across Tennessee. This is tomorrow afternoon. What a beautiful day of the week for to get a snowstorm, especially it's snowing on a Friday afternoon. You throw the frozen pizza in the oven, or you already, probably not gonna be able to order a pizza because, the pizza places are closed down. But that's a running joke on social media with me and a lot of people is pizza and snow, beautiful combination, right? But I'm getting way off track here, but just having a little fun, guys. But, the upstate of South Carolina, the northern Midlands, and I would argue maybe even Columbia too. Northern Georgia, still extreme northern Alabama. But look at the upstate of South Carolina. You see this darker shade of blue? It is coming down. I cannot stress this enough. It is going to catch people off guard. This little band right here is going to throw people for a loop. It's going to happen like that. The cold surfaces, I think everything's going to stick. I don't think anything's going to have an issue sticking. I could see where it's snowing for 15 minutes or sleeting for 15 minutes, and you're already starting to see the ground get white because it's been so cold. Sheesh, it's already below freezing at my house, and I'm in Columbia, South Carolina. So there's Arctic air in place. So I'm just kind of jabbing my jaw at this point. But you keep this going, and they are starting to be very concerned from Atlanta to Columbia. Over to Fayetteville, points north of an ice storm now. And this is why. You see all the pink? That's freezing rain. So after maybe a mixture of snow and sleet in some of these areas in central South Carolina, you start to switch to freezing rain later in the evening. And this is a much colder run, guys. It's concerning. The icing part of this, the freezing rain, that dreaded rain falling below 32 degrees is becoming a concern. But it's still thumping snow up here in the Piedmont of North Carolina. But even up into Charlotte, Greenville, Spartanburg, you're starting to mix with freezing rain. And even northern Georgia, freezing rain. Still snowing up in Tennessee, Kentucky, the Midwest, at this frame too. And then you keep this going. Geesh, is that a word? I just made it up. Look at the freezing rain almost all the way down to Orangeburg, South Carolina. It's all snow up here in northern North Carolina. You keep this going another frame, and we can still go further. Here we go. Yep, we still got it. We go another frame. This is the middle of the night tomorrow night. It's still freezing rain over the central sections of South Carolina, the upstate of South Carolina, getting an all-out ice storm. Northeast Georgia, an ice storm. It's still snowing up here in northern sections of North Carolina. This is all light to moderate snow up here in Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, PA, the Mid-Atlantic. But then you start to get a heavy band of snow, say, up here in southeast Virginia, like Norfolk, Richmond. This is when you have an opportunity. Raleigh, who knows? Maybe Raleigh can avoid the freezing rain. But look at this slither of freezing rain right here. Okay, and you keep this going, and there's a chance. Once upon a time, if you told me that this system was going to be all below 32 degrees in South Carolina, I don't know if I would have believed you. But it might be the case now. But then it finally moves on out, and it's done. And I know I spent a lot of time on that, but I think that I was getting a little flabbergasted on how much colder this run is. And I just want to compare it to a previous run here. And let's look at the run from prior. Yeah, you see how the pink goes further south here? It's a colder run. It's a much colder run. Now, like I said right here at the beginning, I don't really buy. I think you're going to see more snow from this and sleet. Okay, but this band right here is going to be wild. All right, so I know I spent a lot of time on the Euro, and you can back this up, and you can look at the GFS too. And same thing. GFS comes in, and I'm not going to break it down, that detail like I just did the Euro, or we'll be talking till midnight. But we backed this up here, and this is like Friday morning. Here's the GFS, thumping snow in northern Mississippi, Alabama, northern Georgia. It's still snowing back here in Arkansas tomorrow morning. And then it wants to bring sleet all the way down to Charleston. Heavy sleet and snow moving into Columbia. Greenville, Spartanburg, this is definitely all snow. Look at the freezing rain, the pink. And yeah, I mean, the GFS keeps this almost all frozen precipitation except until right at the end. And then you might go to, you might change to rain in certain areas. But I mean, look at the GFS up here. Look at this heavy snow getting up to Kentucky, West Virginia, Southwest Virginia. And look at the heavy snow up here in eastern sections of Virginia, the Delmarva, like the Mid-Atlantic, stuff like that. Now, we had a run earlier, and I'm gonna put this a little bit closer. It's not fair for my folks in Mississippi. Let's make this a little larger. This was the HRRR model run, and we actually might have the next run here. This was the HRRR model run earlier this afternoon that goes all the way through the rest of the storm. And here it comes. And this model does okay sometimes, and other times, you know, it's like, hey, it doesn't do the best. But this is like Friday morning. That blue, I mean, that's snow. And this, you know, that kind of pinkish orange color, that's sleet. But watch the evolution of this storm. Like I said, I would argue that green you're seeing in North South Carolina is actually a wintry mix. What's wild here is like here in Central South Carolina, for example, they have them at a half day, which means they get out of school at like 11:15, 11:30. Well, that's right where a heavy wintry mix is going to move in. So it's kind of got me a little confused at why they have a half day going on. But this band right here is what we call a frontogenesis band. And I'm going to explain this real quick. And I'm going to do a couple things on the fly here. So you guys just bear with me. And I'm going to go to Tropical Tidbits. And this is where it's going to show it the best. And I'm going to try to click on the sounding here. And I'm going to stop it right here. This is like, let's go right here. This is like just north of Columbia, right? And I'm going to click a sounding from right here. All right. Right on the meat of this band. It is 34 degrees, right? Okay, you see this line, and I don't have my clicker here, but you see this dash line right here? That is 0 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So you see how it kind of climbs higher up on your screen? The higher up this climbs, the further up in millibars this gets. So, you know, once you get, say, between 850, about 900, 800 millibars, I mean, that's a few thousand feet up in the air. So you can see the further up you get, okay, the temperatures are lower. So it's plenty cold enough, and then it starts to warm up, and it gets all the way to that 0 degrees Celsius line, that 32 degree temperature spot in the upper levels of the atmosphere, but it doesn't quite cross it. So it goes almost all the way up to 32 degrees, and it looks like it drops a little bit lower, then it does it again, then it drops again, and then the surface is 34 degrees. But it never fully gets above 32 degrees in the upper levels of the atmosphere until you get just above the surface, almost close enough to where you can touch. Not quite literally, but you get what I'm saying. But one thing you'll notice here is this green line. That's your dew points. So, it gauges the level of moisture in the atmosphere. If you notice, once you get, it goes all the way to the upper levels of the atmosphere. I'm talking about 35,000 feet up in the air. You notice the dew points are riding right up against the temperatures. So what that tells us is that the column all the way up into the upper levels of the atmosphere, the column as in the further up you get, in the upper levels of the atmosphere, all levels of the atmosphere is what we call supersaturated, which means, it pretty much means what it sounds like. The atmosphere is loaded with moisture, and in this case, for example, it would be puking snow in the low 30s. Just unloading snow. And I think that it could be sleet, could be snow, but this banding feature is the atmosphere is so saturated, it's just going to squeeze out every bit of moisture possible in this band. And I know I've only clicked on South Carolina, but you look up here too, it's the same thing. Super saturated. Okay? It's going to be snowing like flakes the size of bowling balls. Not quite literally, but you get what I'm saying. You look at the latest GFS, this is what it's showing, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time on each one of these. This is the latest Euro. This is what it's showing, like the latest 18Z Euro wants to dump an inch of snow, like from Augusta to Columbia, but it wants to dump a few inches of snow in Atlanta. So this is one of your best runs yet for snow for areas further south. If you look at the run prior to this, Didn't have as much snow that far south, but you look at the current run, hey, it knocks the snow down further south. So, hey, and you can see, look at this little tongue of snow, a few inches all the way up in southeast Virginia. And then here's all these other areas. And then, just to kind of show you a couple other things here. And if we end up getting, say, an ice storm, I just want to say, props to the Canadian model, because the Canadian model has been showing a huge ice storm for days. And look at all that pink on there. So I just want to show that real quick. Now, let's switch it to this. I want to show you a broad look first at what the National Weather Service is saying, and then we're going to start to get deeper, a closer look at the National Weather Service forecast as far as these snow totals. So here's a broad look at what they're going for. One thing to note on this map is they've dramatically increased the snow. Not dramatically, I would say they've definitely bumped up the snowfall totals for like Nashville and Middle Tennessee. Okay, so that's one big change. And then here's the footprint of ice. Okay, the ice looks pretty. I'm gonna take a little closer look here. The ice looks pretty significant around Atlanta to even Columbia, just north. There's basically a little area from northern Georgia to the northern Midlands, lower upstate of South Carolina through the Sandhills of North Carolina that could get over a quarter inch of ice with an inch of ice from this storm. And here's just a closer look at the snowfall totals in this area. But here we go. We're going to look at these zoomed in maps here. Okay. So I know we're starting pretty far west, but just bear with me if you're like, man, when is this dude going to show Tennessee? When is this dude going to show Virginia? I'm going to work west, and then I'm going to kind of drop south, and then go back up north, and then drop south again. But just bear with me. I'm going to get to your state. There's a 95% chance I'll show you the state you're looking for. But this is Missouri. This is the latest information. Snow's already starting to move into Missouri. They've bumped up the totals for southern Missouri, southeast to Boot Hill, Missouri. I mean, you're going for over a half a foot of snow now. Columbia, 2 to 4. St. Louis, they bumped it up to 2 to 4 inches now. I mean, once upon a time, maybe you were only going to get an inch or less of snow, but this does show areas of Illinois. Springfield, 2 to 4. Peoria, 2 to 3. Fairfield, 3 to 5. And not much ice expected in this area. It's already been snowing in Arkansas, Little Rock, grand total of around, well, I think this is additional snowfall. Well, no, this is the expected snowfall. 6 inches of snow in Little Rock before it's all said and done. They have bumped up the snowfall totals for the northern half of Arkansas, now going for maybe 8 to 10 inches of snow up here. We could get a little bit of ice in these areas. Okay, I guess they're not going to show the ice, so I'm going to have to bump it back to this. They kill me with that. They definitely mess up my rhythm. But I don't know. We got time. We're good. But southern areas of Arkansas, you guys might already be icing up, but could get a 1/10 to a 1/4 inch of ice in some of these areas. And we start to move into the Memphis area. Memphis area going for about 6 inches of snow, but look into western Tennessee now going for 6 to 7, maybe as much as 8 inches of snow now. You get into northern Mississippi. This is a big question mark. You're starting to deal with warm nose issues, but Oxford around 2 inches, Holly Springs around 3. It looks like there's going to be a sharp cutoff just south of Memphis with this storm. So that's something to watch out for, but this is a look at this area. And then we look at ice. I mean, they're not going for much ice with this, a few 100ths of an inch here. And then we start to move a little bit further north and northeast. There's a closer look at the Boot Hill, Missouri here. Here's southern Illinois. Here's western Kentucky. Paducah going for 4 to 6 now. Murray, 5 to 7. Hopkinsville, 4 to 6. I mean, you got a lot of these areas that still already have ice and snow on the ground from the last one. Evansville, they bumped you up to 4 to 5 inches of snow. Mount Vernon, 4 to 5. So this is turning in certainly into a moderate-sized winter storm for you guys now. And then let's bog it back down south. I'm going to show you the rest of Tennessee too. So this is an extremely tricky area. Alabama to Georgia to the Carolinas are probably the most complex area to figure out. Birmingham going for around an inch. Could be an inch of snow. It could be a mixture of sleet. But in general, in north central Alabama, going for anywhere from a half an inch to an inch and a half. The big concern in Alabama could be ice, especially as you get into Georgia. But an inch of snow, a few 100ths of an inch of ice in these areas, I'd watch out for sure. Okay, you got winter storm warnings up in Birmingham for that. But we'll see what happens in this area. This is a tricky area. Okay, with warm nose issues, just like northern Mississippi. All right, you start moving to northern Alabama. Huntsville, Florence, 3 to as much as 4 inches of snow is expected. Fayetteville, 4 inches into the Cumberland Plateau up Interstate 65. Russellville, 1 to 2 inches. Fort Payne, 1 to 2. Coleman, about an inch. So this is what you're expecting here. And then we can get some ice issues in this region. Coleman going for a 1/10 to a 1/4 inch of ice. And I'm telling you, icing could become a big issue in northern Alabama. Could. But Fort Payne going for a 1/10 to a 1/4 inch of ice. This is an area where I thought maybe once upon a time you wouldn't have to worry about ice, but here we are. And then we get into Middle Tennessee. You guys have just been killing it as far as winter weather lately over the last few winters. But Nashville, they bumped up the totals to around 6 to as much as 8 inches of snow. The exact forecast is 6.2, but 6-7 inches of snow. You could overachieve this. Columbia 6 inches, Smithfield 6 inches. And just the entire Middle Tennessee area could get definitely a solid winter storm. Not much ice expected in this area. I'd watch out the southern viewing area though, of for a little bit of ice. But then Eastern Tennessee, this is another complex area because a warm nose could make it all the way into this region. But the latest forecast going for around 3 inches in Chattanooga, Cookeville around 6, Crossville 6, Knoxville about 5, Morristown 4, Kingsport 3, Gatlinburg 3 inches of snow. It's expected. So a solid storm for these areas. Nothing I don't think that you would call major. I think anything over 6 inches will be quite significant. But the Smokies are obviously going to get their due. And then it shows areas of southern Kentucky too. And then, just to kind of look at any icing concerns in this region, you could get a little bit. A few 1/100ths of an inch of ice, a little glaze is definitely possible in this region. And then Kentucky, Southwest Kentucky looks to be the jackpot. That's an area of Kentucky that's kind of been getting hoodooed a little bit with the winter weather. Everybody else has been scoring. You guys are going to get the jackpot in this storm, it looks like. So around 6 to 8 inches of snow in Southwest Kentucky. Bowling Green 4 to 6. Russell Springs 4 to 6. London now 4 to 6. Up the road in Lexington 3 to 4. Louisville 4 to 6 inches of snow. Cincinnati, I could see the same kind of deal around, maybe like 5, maybe like 3 to 5 inches of snow is possible. But Eastern Kentucky a little bit less. Not expecting any ice up here. And then go a little bit up into, say, Indianapolis, 3 to 4 inches of snow. So, this is turning into a pretty nice event for you guys. And then it shows everybody else, not going to mention everybody and their brother here, but hopefully you can see your area pretty well. And then we can even go into Ohio. Cincinnati, there it is, 3 to 4 inches of snow. Columbus, 2 to 3. Dayton, 3 to 4. There's many other areas too. And, sorry, I probably went through that really fast. So just stop the screen, stop the video if you need to. But the latest from Atlanta, I want to actually see if they have any updated information in Atlanta, because that was an old map. Maybe we can catch a new update. No, that's pretty much haven't changed anything. So let's switch it back to this. They updated this a few hours back. Atlanta going for around an inch of snow. Georgia's a tough forecast. South of Atlanta, someone can get a few 1/10 of an inch of snow. North Georgia, a couple inches of snow, depending on where you live. It's not going to be a huge event. I know once upon a time, you're thinking maybe we can get several inches of snow from this. And you still can. You still can. And this isn't exact. It's like, hey, if you live in Rome, Georgia, you don't tell everybody, hey, we're going to get according to my calculations, we're going to get 1.6 inches of snow. Don't view it like that. Kind of open up the range a little bit. And yeah, so, but ice. And the National Weather Service in Atlanta has been on it. They've been updating graphics left and right today. Ice is becoming a big concern in Georgia. Atlanta going for almost a 1/4 inch of ice. North, east of town, and this favored cold air damming areas, they're going for over a 1/4 inch in the red areas. So ice mixed with a couple inches of snow is a huge deal in the South. Washington, look, over a 1/4 inch of ice. All these areas will start out with a solid wintry mix of snow and sleet probably, but you're going to switch to freezing rain inevitably, okay? And then my friends here in Columbia, and this is where I live. I want to show a little extra love for this area, make sure we don't have any new updates, and we don't. So my fam down in Columbia, this is where I live. I know this is going to sound pathetic, but them actually calling for 2/10 of an inch of snow in Columbia, hey, I'm head over heels for that. Now, I think we can get more in this area. In fact, I made my own graphic, and I'm going to show it here in a second after I get done showing the Greenville-Spartanburg area. But, hey, going for a little bit of a snow, a little dusting. And, listen, this could overachieve. Going for a 1/2 inch in Lancaster. So, this could overachieve. The concerning thing, and I'm going to link this into the Greenville-Spartanburg area, is the freezing rain. They're going for over 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain now in Columbia. Camden, almost 2/10 of an inch. Once you get to Winsboro, Newberry, and some of this could increase, Lancaster, over 1/4 inch of ice is expected now. Edgefield, almost 2/10 of an inch. Even a little bit of ice. We have winter weather advisory stretching all the way down here south of Columbia now. So we look at the Greenville, Spartanburg area. This includes the rest of South Carolina as far as the upstate. And for now, they're going for a couple inches of snow. For the Greenville, Spartanburg area in the 85 quarter. Listen, I'm telling you right now, and there's a well-known meteorologist, his name is Chris Justice, and he is gung-ho on there being a lot more snow than what the National Weather Service is forecasting. And listen, I'm with him, maybe not to the extent that he is going with, but I'm going to show you my map for South Carolina here in a second. But listen, I could see this area overachieving. So if you're bummed out for 1 and 2 inches of snow in Greenville, hold your horses. You could get more than this. But, you know, going for kind of south of the 85 corridor, anywhere from a 1/2 inch to 1 inch of snow, but you could get more. And then look up here in the mountains. This could be a Southwest North Carolina special. A lot of locals, you know, this definitely favors Southwest North Carolina in the mountains and stuff. Waynesville can get over 4 inches of snow. Charlotte going for 1 inch, but Lincolnton 2-3 inches of snow. Hickory 3 inches of snow. Statesville, Salisbury 2 to 3. So yeah, Anderson maybe 1 inch of snow. And then we look at the ice. This is the trouble zone here. Greenwood, over 3/10 of an inch of ice is forecast, 1/4 inch. And Rock Hill, Monroe, same thing. And over 2/10 of an inch of ice in Charlotte. And I mean, you mix with a couple inches of snow in the Greenville, Spartanburg area with over 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of ice, it's going to run into issues, big time issues. So definitely icing concerns in this region. Now I want to show you my map. And I'm going to do this on the fly. I didn't have it pulled up. And I made a map today. First time I've done it in about 6 or 7 years. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Right here. It's probably going to come up maybe a little bit of glitchy on your screen. But I made this map off Microsoft Paint. So, you know, don't expect some fancy Nancy nice map. But this is what I'm going for, you know, my home state. And just to have a little special segment for you guys. And, you know, I could see more ice than this actually happening. But I think that it sums it up pretty well. You know, this 1 to 2 inch and 1/2 inch to 1 inch area, I think it's possible to get a 1/2 inch to 1 inch of snow in the Midlands. I do. And I'm really concerned about this area and this kind of blue color and light shaded blue color for an ice storm. And I do think my folks in the Southern Midlands could get a little bit of snow. But, you know, if you want to pause this, I made this myself. I don't do this a lot. But, you know, hey, that's my shot. Hopefully I don't butcher that. But to move up in the rest of North Carolina, like the Raleigh-Durham area, this is what they're calling for. And let's make sure we don't have any updated information. I feel like I'm about to sneeze again. We do not. Yep, there's a sneeze. Sorry, guys. But, I mean, going for around 1 inch to 1 inch and around 1 inch or 2 in the Raleigh-Durham area. Greensboro to Winston-Salem, 2 to 3 inches of snow. So that's what it looks like for this area. Fayetteville, maybe 3/10 of an inch. And then the ice becomes a big concern once you get south of the Raleigh area and around the Raleigh area. And that orange color there, that's, I mean, over 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of freezing rain. So that's a concern. And one thing you're not seeing in here, guys, in any of these maps is sleet. It's nearly impossible to forecast sleet totals. So nobody ever has really a graphic. They'll just say, hey, you can get 1 to 2 inches of snow and sleet. But somebody is going to get bombed with a lot of sleet. Could be a sleet fest for a lot of people. But moving up to, you know, Southwest Virginia, areas of West Virginia and the rest of North Carolina. Mount Airy, 3 to 4 inches of snow. Boone, 3 to 4. The Roanoke, Blacksburg area, anywhere from 3 to 4, maybe, yeah, about 3 to 4 inches of snow. Lynchburg, 3 to 4. Maybe a little ice in this area, but not expecting a lot. And then we'll round it off with this. My folks in Southeast Virginia. This could be a little bit of a surprise storm for you guys. I've mentioned this the last couple videos. But there is going to be a swath of around 3 to maybe as much as 5 inches of snow going right through southeast VA into southern areas of Maryland. And we'll just see what happens. You're going for 1 inch of snow, say in northeast North Carolina. And then you're probably going to deal with just a little bit of ice in the southern sections of these areas. Whew. So that's all I got, guys. I appreciate y'all tuning in. And let's just look at this one last time, make sure we don't have any changes. Because I think we are going to continue to get a little movement here and there. We haven't. For example, I'm going to zoom into my friends here in Georgia and the Carolinas. I think if model trends continue, to be colder, they're going to upgrade Lexington and Richland County to a winter storm warning. I think they will. Now, I'm not going to take my shot anywhere else, but I know my area pretty well, and I think they will upgrade it to a winter storm warning. But we'll see what happens. But that's all I got. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless all y'all. Appreciate y'all's amazing support covering all this and all the growth. And hopefully you'll get snow if your area is kind of right on the edge and you're really hoping for it. This has been tough. We're going to be wrong here. We're going to be wrong there. We're going to be right here, right there. But all in all, everybody's giving their best shot at trying to figure this one out. And it's a tough gig, guys. This is very tough. Show some grace for your local meteorologist. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. So it's a tough job. But that's all I got. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless all y'all, and stay safe out there.